And just like you said, this can be complicated to fill out. So if you need help filling it out, for example, they drilling a strongly agreed speaker, I can walk that for you. If you still have trouble, I can search it for you. No, honestly, put your feedback on it. That's how we get better. I did this at Seattle last MD Expo, and I got some good feedback, so I've updated that. That's my part due. And that's a play off on a movie if you remember that. So I've been about that a long time, and the joke I like to say is you say 30 or 35 plus because it's longer than that. You don't only put the real numbers. I was assistant director for Baylor Scott and White for a long time, U.S. Army trained, worked in a hospital in El Paso, Fitzsimmons. Yeah, when I was at Baylor, we had 22 plus hospitals all over North and Central Texas. And now I'm actually consulting, but I'm also writing, which actually is pretty fun. So one of the things I've written, some of you guys probably know this, is Tales of the Biomed. You know, when you go and sit down and have a few cold with somebody and you tell a story, a funny story about something happened. Well, I had all those stories in my head, and I got some of my friends together and basically wrote a book about that. So I thought that was pretty cool. We're going to be giving a book away later if you answer the right question. So today, and this is where I've improved a little bit, we're going to talk about all the stuff that's going on in healthcare, what's changing, what's going to be coming in the future, and what should we do, right, to get prepared for those changes. And if you've got questions, just yell them out. I'm happy to stop. So this is one. If you Google this, you can find the 10 latest medical technology innovations. Health records, yeah, we've got that. Remote patient monitoring, we've been doing that for a while. Big data, I think, is huge. Cloud computing, that's a big IT concern. You can go down the list and see all these telemedicine apps. Apps is a really big one. Wearable technology. How many people have an Apple Watch or Fitbit? You know, those things can start going your medical record now. Same thing, just another view of that, of 12 trends, more cloud, more data, et cetera. AI is one of those. This could be scary, it could be not scary, but the big guys, right? Alphabet, which most people call Google, Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft, they're all getting into healthcare because they see how much revenue you can generate from all that. And they're all IT people, so it kind of makes sense, right? So Google has been in IT for a while. In fact, they partnered with Mayo Clinic, and it's called Mayo First Aid. If you've got a Google Assistant, which is like an Amazon Echo, you can actually ask it. I don't have one, so I can't do that. But you can actually ask it a question. It'll give you what to do, right? I guess you could say, in Mayo First Aid, I've got a head cold. What do I need to do? It's pretty interesting that they're working with these people. This is interesting. So their competitor, Cleveland Clinic, ends up going to Google. This is about a year ago. Apple and IT. Apple has about 50 patents. You probably heard not too long ago how much stuff they're doing now. They have a bunch of patents with medical devices. They recently hired a bunch of doctors to work in this infrastructure, and they're working with J&J on atrial fib research. I think they got some. Hold on. I probably clicked on a link. There you go. Yeah, so they recently did a study with their Apple Watch, which would be the EKG monitor, and they actually got it approved by the FDA. If you remember when the Apple Watch 4 came out, I'll talk about that a little bit later. They actually got it approved to do EKG. Microsoft, of course, is big in it. They're real big in the cloud. They got one of the biggest cloud things. Actually, I think Google does too. Amazon is big into it. And of course, every time you do a project, you have a code word. Their code name is 1492, and they're the largest cloud storage. Smart hospital, I Googled this a while back, or I saw it on LinkedIn or something. They're selling a smart room on Amazon. So I'm assuming that means that there's a bed, there's a picture up there. It was $285,000. So I couldn't do that on my card. It probably wouldn't just in my house real well, but it's amazing if you start thinking about the stuff they're selling. You know, there's been a lot of discussion that you're going to start getting supplies and a lot of other stuff from Amazon, and so Amazon's really looking into being a medical supply distributor. This was probably a year or two ago. You can start getting your medical records on your iPhone. Think about how convenient that is, and look at all the partners they're already working with. John Hopkins, Cedars-Sinai, Penn, Geisinger, San Diego Health. This is the big players out there they're already working with on that project. I mentioned this a while ago. So this is not. There's a couple of things. So before Apple Watch 4 came out, the company called Alive 4, I think, Yeah, Life Force, they came out with this band that you can stick on your Apple Watch. It'll actually take your EKG. So it's $199. Then they came out with this little device, which I have, but I've misplaced. And you actually just stick it between your fingers, and you sync it to your watch, I mean to your phone. It'll do your EKG. 99 bucks, that's pretty cheap. So I did it. Here's my EKG. Percent blockout and stuff you don't need to see. So here's a report you get. You do it for like 30 seconds, get it sent to your phone, you look at it, then you can say, well, okay, that looks good. Or I'm doing the other one right now, I might do it in the hospital. Then you can save it to them for $10 a month, or you can email it to yourself, something, which is what I do, and you actually encrypt it. Before you do it, they actually put kind of password in it. That's pretty neat. I mean, I think this is amazing. And I'm a geek, so I wanted this thing badly. But how do I justify $99 when I don't have a heart condition? I don't think I have a heart condition. So a friend of mine does have a heart condition. His doctor said, buy this thing. I said, okay. This cardiologist is telling him to get this. I'm getting it. Now, it's a little justification. So I bought it. So I thought it was pretty cool. So let's pretend this is that live court thing. If I'm sitting here taking my EKG, we should know this. And I want you to raise your hand if you know the answer. What lead is that? Who knows the answer? You gotta raise your hand.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. Lead one, finds it lead one.
Right on the left arm.
There you go.
Hey.
There's the winner.
I'm in concert with him, right? So I can check.
I'll get you one for a discount. But you're right, lead one. So it's not the best lead, but it's convenient, right? It's still harder to do the other one. But that's pretty cool. So now the Apple Watch 4 came out in fall of last year, I think. And now what you do is the bottom of it is a sensor on your left arm. Your finger touches the crown, I think they call it. And now you've got your same EKG built in. When they released it, the FDA hadn't quite released it. Apple hadn't released the software, but they released the software, I think, in November of last year. So now you can do this. And I think I started to allude, they did a huge study with some big system, I think it's San Francisco or somewhere in the Silicon area, which would make sense. And they got literally hundreds of thousands of people to do a study. And Google this if you're interested. There was a reporter that was skeptical, not an Apple guy. So he goes, yeah, I'll do it. And he got a report, he got a call from a physician because of this test. He goes, looks like you got atrial fib or something like that, right? So he went to the physician, sure enough, he did. And they found a couple of different things you could do. Some regimen of drug, treatment, something like that, and he had the side effects. You always read on the commercial. I think he ended up getting surgery and fixed it. So his story was the Apple Watch saved my life, and there've been several like that. This, I think, is part of what's going in the future, right? This is interesting because now all this information you're getting can now go back to your physician and you can get it real time. Because the disadvantage of sometimes getting an EKG, you might not be having that bad what you're doing. This is capturing it all the time. And it'll do other stuff for you, it'll work something. The other side thing of this is they also have a fall detection module. So if you fall and people say, oh, I tried it, it doesn't work. Apparently you got the right analysis where it has to be a true fall, not like you fake a fall. And then when it does, it comes up because fall detected, are you okay? And if you don't answer, you call 911. Pretty cool. I think this is going to be a big seller for seniors. Disadvantage, if I talked to somebody who was a senior that had one, well, they wear it at night. Well, I wear it at night, because then when they have to use it, then the battery's dead, right? You get hard at night. So we'll work it out. I mean, I think a lot of the tech stuff, which is great, doesn't always equate over to the seniors because they're late adopters, right? So everybody know what CES is? I can't remember what it stands for, but it's the show for geeks. It's all the computer stuff that's coming out. The latest and greatest gadgets, right? So CES, I think it's in Las Vegas every year. So this year, they announced a bioimpedance monitor for your Apple Watch. So you replace the band, it's got a bioimpedance monitor, it's got hydration and everything on it. Pretty cool. You see all these things are starting to move into that area. Exoskeleton, so you got people with paralysis can't walk. Now you can help them walk now. Tinnitus, I knew a guy that had this, I think I'm pronouncing it right, tinnitus, the ringing in the ears. There's this There's a software series, I think it's Tone or something that helps with that. That's pretty cool. CBS, this happened a while ago, but it's still going on. Now, everybody knows the slides are going to be available later, right? So you'll be able to download the slides. I think after the show you'll get. If not, come see me and I'll send them to you. CBS and Aetna are merging, $69 billion. That's going to be huge. Signifying Express Scripts, large hospital systems, and actually it's Intermountain Health, right? There's a couple we'll hear from them. They said, you know what, we're frustrated about the cost of drugs, especially generic drugs, and they were getting very upset about it, so they said we should build our own, say, pharmacy or distribution, or they're going to make it themselves. They just buy a company to do it. So there's a lot of different ways to try to get costs out of the system. This is one. Obviously, there's people merging, systems merging too. They're trying to get costs out, and this is another way to count the middleman. Amazon, it's happened, just over a year ago. Amazon, Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan Chase said we're getting into healthcare because we want to make it more cost effective. Same thing, you get these big players with deep pockets. That's interesting how they're going to affect that. And I think you can already see with some of the other people getting in the game. So how many people have like an Amazon Echo device? I think people raising their hand. I mean, I got one like in every room in the house. I think people say, and there was a thing the other day, and people are listening to me. Go ahead, it's like, don't listen to Dave anymore. He's pretty boring. We're going to listen to somebody else. But I love this stuff because we use it for all kinds of things. So think about, for simple things, so, you know, they're going to think about, Alexa, I need a box of ibuprofen or something like that. We use it for groceries all the time. We have a grocery list. We just say add potatoes, add macaroni and cheese, add something. We go to the store, here's our list, it's right there. We check it off, and it goes away. We have an Amazon show, which is a screen, and I go, I need to make a steak tonight. Give you a recipe, show the recipe, go through it. So these things can be very convenient for you. And these companies are going to find ways to take advantage in a good way to help, right? So when I was doing this, I go, Alexa, I've got a sore throat and runny nose. This is what she told me. I had to do it several times. I can't write as fast as she talks. Because this might be an answer your question, found this on Wikipedia. And then here's a recommendation. And it actually references the mail, which I thought was interesting. So Alexa, what's the closest hospital? And it gave me hospital in Mansfield, I think. So that was interesting, based on my zip code. So I tried it with Siri. So Siri is the equivalent on your Apple, right? Siri wasn't good. It says, I've got a suggestion. How about this? So the first one is OBGYN. Probably not going to help me. Then the contact place, orthopedic, so that one didn't work. Hey Siri, what's the closest hospital? So it came up, and I live in the middle of Dallas Fort Worth. It says, here's Texas Healthcare Methodist Hospital. Problem is, that's actually their corporate headquarters. Not perfect. It found the hospital. Like technically. This I think is pretty cool, right? This has been affected us. Imagine if you're a manager, even if you're not for tech, the challenge is getting data. Get data, people be right. Getting data into the system and actually getting enough without getting too much. And so that's a really hard thing to do. I don't remember the vendor, but I think at least one vendor is doing this, right? So you got to work order. You're walking out the door, you're saying, hey, just did this, boom, close out the work order. So that's a big time saver. And I think most of these, for me, Siri works pretty well. Right? I mean, I think it works pretty well on recognizing what I'm saying. I'm sure there's people with certain dialects, certain parts of the United States problems with it harder. But holy cow, if it can work that well, that'd be cool. I mentioned this, so we have an Echo show in the house. And imagine using that. I mean, you could use your computer now, but you could do this with telehealth. Like you sit in your kitchen and go, Alexa, contact my physician or something like that. You get in some system and you talk to them, and they can see you. Oh, by the way, my EKG is going over to them. And they don't pulse ox up to me, right? And I'll send that over to them. And I could have a ton of stuff sitting right there with them. This is not futuristic. I had 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, when I reported to IT, my boss actually was a VP of infrastructure. Infrastructure is, you know, all the networking and the routers and the switches and all that kind of stuff in the hospital. And he was Of course, he's more geek than I am, right? But he was a really nice guy and real sharp. He told me, and we were even talking how we got on the subject. He told me that it was like a Sunday or Saturday, he wasn't feeling good, probably, sore throat, et cetera. And so he knew that somehow he knew he could just get on his phone and basically FaceTime with somebody. So he did. So he got on with the physician, literally got on, within a minute. And he had his EKG, whatever he had, somehow he was able to send it out, everything. And he goes, okay, it looks like this is what you've got. I'm going to send a prescription to your local pharmacy. And he said literally within 25 minutes, by the time he called, the stuff was done. No driving anywhere, no going anywhere, no anything else. Obviously, you can't do that. I got a broken arm. But, within a reason, that was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty neat. That kind of led me to this a little bit. Medical devices for your phone. So that's actually a picture of this pulse oximeter. How much did I pay for this? $35. $35? Anybody else? 10. 10? Okay. It was either 14 or 19.95 on Amazon. And I bought one. A friend of mine, I was going down to San Antonio to cancer, and we were concerned about his heart rate and everything. So I go, let's go on Amazon. I'll order my pulse ox. I go, I'll use the same thing. I think I'll order me a pulse ox. And I got two different ones because I want to try them out, right? I want to see what's better. Me, I got one that's got different colors and all kinds of stuff on there. You can move it around. Pretty cool. But now this one doesn't have Bluetooth, so it doesn't go to my phone. But you can buy them with Bluetooth that go to your phone. Oh, by the way, Massimo sells one that looks almost identical to that one. It's $2.95. You get it on the Apple store, but it's FDA approved, et cetera, and it goes to the Bluetooth. So again, same thing, right? Your Apple Watch, how you get the pulse ox, how you get these things that go into your Apple device or whatever OS you're using to be able to share instantly with your physician. That is cool. It's also leading us to where we're going, right? Okay, sidetrack a little bit. So obviously, a big part of the future of HTM is going to be IT. Now you could argue this is IT or not, but data is also a huge part of this. You've got to be able to have good data to make good decisions. And if you don't have good data, you need to start getting that data in there. You need to make sure your database is good, clean, it's got all the data you need in there. And you're able to run reports to make good decisions. Imagine running reports with bad data and giving it something and then make a wrong decision. You kind of lose credibility right there. You've got to work at the bottom and get all this stuff done. This probably wasn't that long ago that Amy Horizons did this article. I think it was a whole book. Holographic imaging is going to be a big deal. About, you see all these sci-fi things, but imagine being able to get in a case and you can pull up stuff and start doing stuff with it. Well, I don't think we're that far away from that. AI, so that's a big one. They just recently I think they can change the outcomes by doing AI predictive. They see can start looking at all the data out there, kind of like what Google and Apple and everybody else are doing. And so based on what I'm seeing, this is what's probably going on. This is what you should probably do. Pretty cool. And a lot of people are already doing that. Memorial Sloan Kettering using it for prostate. Stanford is using it for different types of medical conditions. There's actually, I think, is Glassbeam here? I think Glassbeam is probably here. They usually use it. They're doing AI. I think it's just on the imaging side, but they can actually go out there and do predictive analysis on when your tube is going to go out and when this is going to go out. And get analytics. And they do all the screenshots. They can say, here's your rooms, here's how many times they're doing them, here's how long it's when you're first starting a case, the last thing you get a case. So we used to get that question. So, well, I didn't know how long a CT scanner to be used or MRI or something. I don't have that data. Well, now you've got something. You can pay for it, right? But it can get you that information so you can make better decisions. Do we need to get a new unit because of usage? Well, this one's only been used 40% of the time. They can move some more people over there. We had I don't know if it was CT or MRI at a clinic that jokingly our techs had more time on the machine than the radiologist. And so that was one of them we decided we could do. Now you could do that without doing it. When you get into the hours, you're saying, okay, you don't have to know, you don't have to have something for this, but when you're using it a lot, this can help you on that decision. But I think the nice thing on this one is now you're saying, based on usage, based on this, based on temperature, I think that your tube is probably going to fail in a month, 2 weeks, something like that. Now what you can do is pretty proactive and work with it. It's not overnight, so you're saving some money, and then you can schedule downtime for replacement. That's huge. That's a big win. AI from the operating room, so there's a bunch of people talking about how you can save money and definitely reduce risk. So those are two big ways that you can reduce risk and save money at the same time. Better outcomes, safer for the patient. Virtual training, I think G talked about this last year at AIM, where sometimes you can't get the training, you still want to do it, you might have time, but you can't afford to go there. So let's do virtual training. That'd be pretty cool. Actually, I think I saw Steve Jewett here. He's a medical equipment planner, and we got him at our local biomed meeting, and he talked about this. So anybody who's done any kind of medical equipment planning, to a certain extent, it starts with paper, right? It starts with ideas, and you put paper and start drawing stuff out. And eventually, it started going to, we're going to mock up a OR room or an ICU room, and put a bed and put monitors up on the wall, look how things are when you walk around. It takes money and it takes time. Don't just do it virtually. And so Steve told me they're doing it virtually now. Right? Everybody puts the goggles on, you've got it drawn up in the system. And now you can see, you know what? We need to bend a little bit more over this way. Because when I do this, swing this lamp over, it's a little bit better. Pretty neat. That is awesome. Smart stethoscopes. So when I was doing this is some of the stuff I found. All this stuff can go back into your smartwatch. Robots. This is probably, what, a year or two ago when TechNation came out on this article. So it's not just the surgical robots. And, there's more people now competing with Intuitive for the surgical robot and other types of robots. There's also UV cleaning robots. You've seen those that can clean the OR. And also supply chain robots. We had robots when I was at Baylor years ago over drugs for the pharmacy. So somebody's got to take care of those. You might not be able to take care of the surgical robots. You've got to at least manage them, right, with the contract or whatever else you do. 3D printing. Anybody from the military over at Fort Sam? So the recent classes, they're teaching 3D, right? Yeah. So does that mean that you guys are servicing them or are using them as design devices?
We're just designing them, sir. We're not actually servicing them or teaching them to service those, but we use them to design other boxes so that we can explosively split it open, easier access to placing them on.
Cool. I mean, you've probably seen a lot of this, right? People are using 3D printing already. I mean, I can see you make parts or whatever you need to have. So I'll use the thing that I think John said a couple of days ago. Wow, it took us 30 minutes before he said cybersecurity. Sorry, okay, we're here now. But that's part of the game now. So if you read any blogs, I did a blog recently, and I called it Cybersecurity is the new electrical safety concern for HTM. Some people didn't like it, but it's not meant that it's as bad as or whatever. What I meant was, if you look at what started clinical engineering, biomedical engineering, HTM, it was electrical safety scare in '69, right? That's what it was. And that's what I think cybersecurity is now for our industry. It's the new concern. Now, I didn't put on here, but actually do a graph. It was a graph based on my feeling, not on data. And then my feeling was, if you look at the graph, electrical safety, now some people would argue this, but I'm sorry, I found stuff that was a problem, not a lot. But when vendors got better and better and better, electrical safety was less concerned, right? You don't find electrical leakage. Equipment is designed better. You don't find ground opening on equipment. So look at the graph, that concern goes down, and it's gotten to the point to where it's a non-issue. And that's what I look at cybersecurity. It's a huge issue now because we have equipment that is not meant in a bad way. I mean, it wasn't really designed to be on a system. It was, but it was assumed it was going to be on a separate system and not connecting the other people. And so they weren't worried about the OSs and all that type of stuff. Now you've got all this equipment that's still functional, but doesn't play well with other IOs because they're patching everything they got because they're upgrading the OSs. Eventually, when that equipment gets old enough, right, and you're getting the new stuff, and people are basically getting better with cybersecurity, that issue is going to be less. I'm not saying it's going to be less of an issue. I'm saying it's going to be less of a concern because you're hitting newer OSs, and the vendors are going to understand how to play with cybersecurity better. That kind of make sense? It's still going to be there. And we'll probably get something else up there soon. So cybersecurity and HTM, the last couple of times, you just got anything or anybody to think people. So this was, the last one was Top Coast, Pruitt, Zbox, Simile, Nuvolo, Cyber MDX. There's a new one that I found out yesterday was Sonoro. Yes. there, I think, I apologize if I got the name wrong, but they're here. So you go by and see them in their booth. They're Israeli company in the cybersecurity. So there's a ton of people out there. And if you don't do it, or you think this is something that IT should be doing, I'm telling you, you need to know the knowledge at least to be able to answer the question correctly. The way I look at this is, I do look at it as an added cost to HTM, which I don't like. I mean, most of us are concerned about cost. You could argue that it's also a proactive measure to protect something. So if you could look at it as an insurance policy, maybe that's another way to look at it. I think we've got time. I want to go a little detail. I'll give you some ideas. So one of the things that we do, or I think we should do in biomeds, is learn to think and talk off the cuff within reason. Most of us, we are numbers people, right? And we want something specific, right? How many pieces of equipment you have? 1,235. 1,205, right? That's okay. So probably the question you're going to be asked is, how many pieces of equipment do we have that's on the network? I don't know, I can run a report. Or you might not know because we just haven't done it yet. You know it's on there, but haven't done it. One of the things I've learned, and I've always been a numbers guy, is learn to at least approximate what you're telling somebody, saying, I can give you a best guess. And most people are going to be okay with that. You give them a range. So here's some best guesses. Some people like to use the word, behind out, back of the envelope calculation. We'll use 500 bed hospital, average size, right? How many pieces of equipment does a 500 bed hospital have? Everything. Imaging, biomedics. Anybody want to guess? 20,000. 20,000. Okay. In my experience, typically it's 20 to 25 pieces of equipment per bed. So put that in there. 20 to I use 500 just the math is easy. So it's 10,000, right? 10,000 to some change. It can be more depending on what you've got in this type of hospital. Say ballpark. Okay, well, how much of that is on the network? Am I really talking if you don't know? Okay, well, if I got 10,000 pieces of equipment, what percentage is typically on the network? My experience is 20 to 25%. Based on imaging, is almost 100%, right? 95 to 100%. Biomedical, 20 to 25%. Majority of that, IP pumps, right? Then patient monitoring, et cetera. Okay, so take that number. You've got 10,000. Now I've got 2,500. Now I've got 2,500 pieces of equipment. I'm doing my math right. So I've got 2,500 pieces of equipment. Well, what's it going to cost me? Talk to the guys out here. And when I first started talking to people, the cost was $50 to $75 per device per month. That might be per year. Sorry, ask them. Anyway, but you see what I'm saying? You can back into a number and give them a range. Because your CIO is going to ask you, what's this going to cost me? He probably doesn't want to hear everything I just told you. At least give them a range. It's going to cost $15,000 a year. Okay, well, let's do something. Remember, these are go-no-go decisions. This is not, if it's $50,000, he goes, no, I don't think we can do it. But they're looking for a range, like buying a car or buying something. People are looking for a ballpark range, and that's where you make the decision. When I talked to the company yesterday, I think they told me the numbers are starting to come down, so I think it's now closer to $30. But talk to them and ask them, you see me correctly, because I think it might be per year. Anyway, it's going to cost us something to do that. But another way to look at this, well, we can't afford this, right, because of the cost, but we have to do it. Does anybody not agree we have to do this? You have to know what you've got on the network. You have to know what the IP, the MAC, all that type of stuff is. You have to know that. The disadvantage is if you do it, it's static, right? You swap out a pump or something, now you got to do it again. Or you change something. It's done. You upgrade the OS or something. So it's static, not dynamic. The advantage of going with a company like this is it's dynamic. It's always checking. It's always looking. It's proactive. It's looking for, again, talk to them, but looking for anomalies on this should not be communicating here, and it's going to shut it down or tell you this is not normal and you can shut it down. That's pretty neat. So, again, well, how am I going to justify that cost? If we agree that I need to do this, it's the right thing to do, again, take your numbers. If I've got 10,000 pieces of equipment, 25% is on the network, I've got 2,500, right? 2,500 pieces of equipment. Well, how long is it going to take me to check all that equipment? Assuming where you know everything is, it's probably going to be an hour or two per device, right? Now, say, oh, now some of it's not, some of the guys use a ballpark. Yes, some's going to be real easy, some's going to be really difficult, right? Can't get to it, etc. 1 to 2 hours. Now you've got an estimate, 2,500 times 2 is 5,000 hours. How fast can somebody work 5,000 hours? You know, the number is ballpark 2,000 hours a year per person full time. That's 2.5, 3 people per year. Okay, check the salary. Use the salary, equate it. Now you can say, okay, we need this data. It's going to cost me. It's going to take me a year, and it's going to take this much money to do it. But buy the system, or rent it, whatever you call it. They can own it. It's not going to be instant, right? IV pump might not be on that for a long time, but eventually when it gets on, then you'll be much more closer to 100%. That makes sense. So use those numbers in your head, and then you can help getting to justify what you're trying to get with this equipment. It's a cost. I don't like it. I don't like that it's adding to the service cost what we have to do, but it has to be done. Or something has to be done. Here's a new tool. Everybody still got the pocket protector? It does when I first started out. I have some people working, but and some of the new tools you need to do. So I already talked about this. You really have to identify what your network is, what your OS, everything. You've got to. There's tons of stuff out there that you can read from Amy. They've done a good job. They have a lot of great resources. They did a whole thing on cybersecurity on the Horizon. You know, Horizon comes out once or twice a year. They focus on something. The Amy magazine did. They just came up with a guide. Forgot who did it. I think it was Pixel Work, I think. And then Steve Grimes did this this device. I don't know where the point went. Anyway, they did that device, that one. And I don't remember if I bought download it or not, but it's probably $75 from it. It's supposed to be working. And then you got came out a couple of years ago with 8,000 a month. And then coming out with TIR 57, is this, I think? Yeah, TIR 57 is coming out soon. You can subscribe. I subscribe to Health IT Analytics and HIT Infrastructure to get information, keep you kind of updated on what's going on. Gartner had a study not too long ago that security hardening on healthcare provided will increase by 45%. That just kind of makes sense, right? We're getting more and more stuff on the network with counters and all those types of things. All kinds of stuff wants to be thrown in the network so they can share that data. You know, you've heard the stories about the highest payback for somebody hacking devices, a medical device, because your health information is more important than Social Security and your credit card and all that kind of stuff. So everybody says, oh man, everything's changing. I just want to do TMs, I want to fix equipment, I want to keep doing this stuff. Change is constant. I don't care who or where you work. I've worked with IT people forever, and I heard the same story with them. I liked it when I had servers, those big mainframes. I don't like this little PC stuff. It was changing. You know, I'm old enough. I'm sorry, I was caught on tubes when I was in the Army. And so transistors and stuff like that. So, you know, all the other stuff was new to me. Things change. Things happen in your field and stuff to do. It's just quicker now. You know, nowadays, you don't even hardly ever use your computer anymore. You use your phone, right? It's you know, Joe just now, when you have a phone, you don't use it for talking to people. You use it because that's your device and you don't need the internet and do other things. That's where everything's moving, and that's what we need to be more savvy on. So we did this thing with oil rate. So to me, it's still all about data. You got to be able to have the numbers in your head. You got to be able to know how to do it, how to communicate to your CDO, CIO, CNO, whatever you're talking about. Understanding what they're concerned with. We were talking a while ago about this. The CFOs are concerned about cost. Okay, what am I doing to help reduce costs? Somebody else is going to probably be concerned about risk. What am I doing to reduce risk, et cetera? Other people are going to say, yeah, but your budget goes up every year. Well, then understand the benchmarks around cost-service ratio and show them that maybe you're staying steady or going lower, but we're adding equipment. That's why my budget's higher because we're adding equipment. One of the things I used to do with my bosses, and for a long time we reported in IT, you know, I was getting beat up all the time, just like you guys are about, hey, your budget goes up every year. I go, buy equipment every year. One of the things I would do, and this is no disrespect to the vendor, but we had 14 robots. I mean, there were robot costs. I won't mention the name, but it's the big one. So they're $1.8 to $2 million per device. We're buying literally 1 or 2 every year, and probably replacing another one. The contract on those things, and this is documented stuff, get the ballpark 150 to 175 per device. No, you can't. There's nothing you can do about it. Not until 5 years that you go at risk. Pull the grip line. So do the cost of service ratio on that and start looking at it. One of the things I did is, of course, I didn't say this, I said it in my head. You know, they say reduce your spend. I go, quit buying robots, right? But what you can do is, I'm trying to think of what can I tell them that might jolt them or make a big difference. So here's one thing I use, is I go, I've got, I don't know how many pieces of equipment, 100-something thousand pieces of equipment, 14 robots. Do the math, 0.02 something percent. Robots make up 10% of my repair budget. Now that is significant, right? 10% of my budget is spent just for contracts on robots. Oh, by the way, it doesn't cover everything. But they only represent 0.02% of my inventory. Oh, that helps a little bit. Still have robots. And so one of the things, I mentioned this the other day too, remember our mission, if you want to call it that, is not changing. You know, we were created in the late 60s, early 70s for what? For safety, right? That's what we do. Our whole job is around making sure the environment is safe for patients. Bottom line is that's what we're doing still today. It's just different stuff. There's more cybersecurity, there's more projects, it's more other stuff, but it's to make things safe. The core of what we do has not changed at all. So what should we do? What do I need to do? I mentioned earlier, you've got to make sure your database is up to date, accurate, and clean. You've got to have clean data if you want to be able to see as a player in a hospital and be able for them to make good decisions. Make sure all this information is in your database, right? So you can find all this information, what you need to put in there. Definitely IP, MAC, virus, OS, all that kind of stuff. The patches. I feel strongly our guys should be, guys, I mean that generic, they should be trained in basic IT. And we did this when I was at Baylor, A+ Network Plus. Everybody needs to be trained. Get your certification, you're doing it. Just go ahead and get the test, knock it out of the way. Then you need to create a cybersecurity person. Most people have done this. You know, I wish our field was better about saying, here's the position, here's the job description, here's what it should be. You know, the pay's probably going to be all over the map. But that person should be in your department, working with the cybersecurity people in IT. They speak the same language, but that person can still speak biomed, right, HTM. And of course, they need to get all those certifications, like Security Plus, there's a whole bunch of other types of security things you can get. And I think, as a manager, you should get ITIL certification. I don't remember what ITIL stands for, but it's basically, it's like best practice for IT. So, so I did it. And I was in IT for a long time as a biomed, and you know, they're saying stuff, this doesn't make sense to me at all. And then I did the IT with ITIL deal. I said, now I know why they're speaking that way. This is their best practice of IT, right? So now I can understand what the hell this is for, what this means, and what escalations are, and all that type of stuff. I highly recommend you do that. And then work with your vendors. Work with the vendors out there to start getting these devices protected. I know, again, I apologize that it's going to be an increased cost for our system, but it's also proactive. I'd hate to be in a hospital and somebody says, what have you done to protect your equipment? I mean, that's a loss of way to happen. I mean, at least get something proactive. IT is, I'm sure, is doing something, but, you know, we all know medical devices are a little bit different. We can't do certain things to them, so get some other people involved. You got to get your speed on the IT. Okay, so I probably talked pretty fast. What questions do you all have? What concerns do you have? I'm serious. I really think we're going toward, you know, apps and all that type of stuff. Yeah.
So, in looking at passive scanning, you need to be looking at companies that will be able to map back to your CMMS. So, not all of them do this, and it is a very big issue. So, if you're looking at some of these suppliers, be sure you can tie everything back to a tag, otherwise you're still going to spend that, in your example, 2.5 FTEs trying to track down the MAC and IP address. If you can't tie the information back from passive scanning to an asset, you would have lost a tremendous amount of value.
Everybody hear that? That makes perfect sense. Yeah, I didn't even mention that, but that's a good point. If you're using one of these vendors, wherever you're using, if you're getting that stuff into your database, then it's now active, right? It's not static. I don't know if that's what the right word is, but it's not static. And then, you know, for all the ID problems, that's when I type all this stuff in here. It's always updated. That's awesome. It's updating all this stuff. So when you talk to the vendors, and that's including the cloud hosts and the big box and all those guys, talk to them not only about can you do it, but what are they collecting? Are they updating all this stuff? Who do you work with? You know, there's EQ2, there's AIM. Do they work with those guys? Or is it just some of the other vendors that are working with ServiceNow? So talk to them and make sure you get the right stuff before you make that decision. Okay, thank you. Good question. You know, I still feel like, I think this is the right field to be in. It's just changing. And maybe we're going to get some new people attracted because it's got a little bit of an IT tone, but we're more hands-on than traditional IT person are, right? Because we're on the field. In the healthcare environment, you can go to the OR, the ICU, et cetera, unlike a typical IT person. So I think it's exciting, but it means that we have to adapt, and we have to change, and we have to get better. What I think, you know, I think probably everybody in this room has a smartphone. So if you're getting better at adapting to it, using it, and doing it, I told you in the week, right? I downloaded an app. It's called the Mac Address Lookup. And oh, by the way, I bought a ID pump on eBay for $29. So I did the whole MAC address and I typed it in there and it says Hospira. But it works pretty well. So that's important. That's why it's important. That's how, I think that's how, right? That's how those vendors are finding out what that device is. They look up the MAC address, and the MAC address is assigned to the vendor. That's what it is. I actually looked up my ID pump to my network at the house, and I've got another program that I can look up. It's called ThinkBox. It's not ThinkBox, Think. And I like to look up there and it says hospital ID pump. That's kind of interesting. It's kind of scary that you can buy this stuff.
Have you had any experience with ransomware hitting a hospital or a healthcare network?
Now, did y'all hear, so y'all heard the question about ransomware, malware, stuff like that? You know, there was a clinic, it wasn't a hospital, it was a clinic that was shut down. Chicago, was it? That area, they were hit with it, and you know, people, hackers called them and go, get it, push it close down. Other people, that's the thing, some people have done insurance, everybody, you should. Think about hospitals that should have plans, like we've got a plan for weather, we've got a plan for this. Hospitals need to have plans for cyber attacks now too. What are you going to do? And, you know, FBI can probably walk through a lot of this. A lot of the IT people can walk through this stuff. But, you know, a lot of it's calling in, making sure you've got backups, making sure your backups are good, you're safe. Call the FBI. But there's probably a lot more that's happening that we don't know about. It's kind of sad and it's kind of scary. I hate to see the one having to report what we're doing to be proactive and prevent that. What else? What other kind of questions do you have? How many have trained their staff on A+, Network Plus, etc.? A lot. How many about y'all? Are y'all trained on it? I'm from Texas. I just want to say y'all. Okay.
Hey, are you from Mexico? Are you an instructor?
Yes, sir.
Aren't you training everybody up to A+ now?
A lot of our guys are now Security Plus certified.
Okay.
We have been working on that.
But I mean the students now. I thought they had to get the A+ certification.
We're rewriting the curriculum right now,
Oh, right now.
and it's in the process of working towards.
So your military BMS will eventually all be A+
Yeah.
certified.
And there is an advanced course currently that does teach some plus.
Yeah, I think it's really important. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer that people need to be trained on. If you can't do it, find a way to do it. When I was, the last system I was at, one of the things that we did, every month we did a continuing education class once a month. And almost every year we would do a class on networking. And because it just takes, I'm sorry, it took me a while to get used to it, right? If you're not doing it all the time, and you're doing more of it now, but when you learn something, you don't use it, it goes away, right? And so you've got to constantly keep people updated on this. One of the best classes we ever did, in fact, then we had GE network. And so we had the GE network, we had the drawing, we did a class, we taught people for an hour on here's how you do this, here's what the map looks like, here's how you ping stuff, here's why you do this. And then we brought them back, and then we had them get on you could get through it, I forget what that system was, you could get on the network on it, you could look at it. And so we actually gave people a test. He goes, find this address and tell me what it is. Do this, tell me how you get to this point. That makes more sense. That helps a ton more. Because once you learn it, then you got to practically put it to piece. And it's like, well, now we're talking.
Yeah, so, I went to the networking class, right before this one, and they have two going on right now. But it was a good basic class, so you can get all these slides, and they're taking some of this stuff. So I highly recommend looking at that networking class. That's something you can share with your coworkers and staff and whatever. It's some good basic stuff. So I mentioned the second class probably good. He's a great instructor.
Yeah, he's an instructor at Texas A&M College with the deal with email, so he's really good at it. He's written some stuff on it too, so highly recommend that. Like I said, get the slides, do that. And again, if we can't afford the stuff, we actually went through 2 sessions. We did a long time ago, and then probably about a year or 2 ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago, we had moved to newer students, we brought more people in, and we taught them a place and network book. You got to do it. And if you're a manager or something, do it yourself. I think it helps. It really helps a lot. What does that mean? I'll give you another example. If you've been in biomed for a long time, we understand clinical, meaning nurse tells us something, physician tells us something, we translate it in our head, right? And then we translate it back to them. Well, it's the same thing with IT. It's the same thing with cybersecurity. Same thing with the CFO, CIO. And understand their language, understand what they're talking about, understand how to speak on their level, so you can communicate better. With IT, I've always felt that if you got the certification, it's on the card, that's your initial thing you give it to them, they go, oh, okay, I can speak on this level now, not down here. Okay? All right, I appreciate y'all coming. Go down there.
All right, thanks, everybody.